Greetings, brothers and sisters. I have a lot of things in this video. I've already made the video, and I just realized I can upload my videos on Pockets of the Future today. I got a community guideline strike last week for medical misinformation, so I haven't been able to upload for a week, for those of you who are wondering what's happened to me. But I have been working. It really hasn't changed much for me. I've been making videos and uploading them to this channel, my apocalaughsnow channel, which is linked in the description box of this video, right? Underneath every video is a description box, and all my videos have a link to my other channel, apocalaughsnow. And so those of you who have been missing my content and didn't know where I went, that's where I went. And subscribing to my other channel would be good because I put content up there almost every day as well. And these last videos, I think they were all really funny. I mean, that was the feedback I received from people in the comment section, that I made a lot of videos. You know, there's a lot of humor this past week. And so there's videos up there if you haven't seen those. You know, I've said this before, when you are, you know, when you're sort of a person looking for truther content or alternative content on any sort of platform, but particularly YouTube, you have to work for it, right? Notifications don't come in all the time, almost, you know, never, right? You get unsubscribed a lot. And so you have to, you know, look at also things like happen like community guideline strikes. So you have to subscribe to people's backup channels. And if somebody disappears like I did for a week and I post all the time, then you have to look at their, you know, I had a video I changed the title of, and I put a comment I pinned a comment in my last video that was uploaded that explained what was happening here, and the link to my other channel. So for those of you who, you know, missed out on content, it's something you have to, you know, there's a level of participation that has to happen, because the content that they promote on YouTube is so-called authoritative content, right? Things to do with mainstream media, mainstream news, things to do with, you know, celebrities who have YouTube channels and things of that nature. Things that have alternative opinions, they don't promote. So you have to, you know, work at it a little bit. But anyways, you can find my backup channel, my other channel, in any video, and the link that's in the description box of any of my videos. And should I disappear at some point, then, you know, usually is going to be something like this that you can find on my other channel, right? You can always check the other channel, bookmark it, and your browsers have bookmarks and things. And, you know, bookmark this channel as well, because people lose my channel and then they search for it and can't find it, right? And then they find it like, oh, I've missed a year's worth of content. I'm like, you know, you have to, you know, work a little bit at it, right? Also, my Facebook page, I put a message out there. I posted a video from my other channel. And so, anyways, let's get to the fun. There's lots of, you know, this is a big day of stories, so it's a good day to come back. Greetings, brothers and sisters. I got a bunch of things to get to. Alec Baldwin's ex-wife slams him on Red Table Talk. His daughter went there because she's effed up, because she's Alec Baldwin's daughter. There's, you know, stuff to do with Hailey Bieber and her blood clot, having a heart surgery. I mean, a bunch of things. Amy Schumer praising Kim Kardashian over her comic abilities. A CNN thing, a CNN clip that's so embarrassing for the network and Jim Acosta. And there's probably a lot more things. This is kind of a big day. I can't remember all of it. But let's start here with the Marvel Studios Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And this is a promo I saw during a basketball game where they have sort of what they consider a bombshell, and it would have been maybe 3 years ago, but it's not now.
Strange, it's time. In 10 days.
In 10 days.
Nothing can prepare you.
There's an Illuminati eye there. And, of course, the color red here. That's the Scarlet Witch. Boom, into our Illuminati eye.
For the truth.
Then there's these fragments of mirror-like metal that create a situation where there's that created a fracture like schism and multi-personality thing here, right? You know, all the different reflections in the shard metal or mirror-like objects here.
Everything you've ever...
Okay, so there he's floating up in the sky with all these candles, and he's given the double devil's horns. All of this I wouldn't have bothered with, right? All that you've seen so far I wouldn't have bothered with if it hadn't been for the thing at the end.
You've ever known led you to this moment.
Stephen Strange.
The Illuminati will see you now.
What? The Illuminati? A Marvel movie. These guys are some sort of robots.
The Illuminati will see you now.
You know, it just doesn't matter anymore, right? That's what this says. That they just don't care, right? They're rolling out the Illuminati as a selling point, like they dropped some bombshell, and nobody cares because it doesn't matter. I'll get into this in just a moment.
Marvel Studios, Doctor Strange, rated PG-13.
Only in theaters in May 6th. There's other levels of the occult type things in Doctor Strange movies. I used to cover this stuff all the time. But the reason why it isn't important, because things that are in movies and TV shows and whatever it is, I mean, they could, you know, like Satan was a protagonist in a TV show, right? Lucifer was I mean, you have these various levels of where they're not like hiding things anymore, or they're not, you know, trying to be on the side of good. I mean, everything's gone so degraded and people don't care. The apathy from the people, including people in the truth community, and there's no defense for it, right? Like, people aren't going to riot over this. People aren't going to, you know, do something where they're going to, and there isn't any solution anyway, because the system itself is collapsing and there's desperation time. And I think most people have a sense of that. Like, that if you know, a lot of people are angry. A lot of people are, you know, they have their fake outrage or whatever it might be, you know, across the board in every demographic. But most people have a sense that the system's so fragile, we're hanging by a thread. So if you do anything to provoke to expedite the system collapsing, then you're going to be screwed that much faster. And as long as people have food, and as long as they have the internet and they have their lifestyle, things are fine. But as soon as that goes away, then there's going to be, you know, riots and whatever. I mean, there's going to be, you know, people acting stupidly. And so that's, you know, as soon as real suffering happens, it's happening to some people. I mean, people are definitely, you know, you're going to see a lot more people falling into poverty and homelessness and things. I mean, that's going to happen. But until there's like this mass, mass takeaway of your lifestyle, when your lifestyle is dramatically affected, then you'll see how people react. Like, that's the next big thing. But in terms of the Illuminati being, you know, pimped out there, you know, the Illuminati was featured in the Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie, like the Illuminati, and also, of course, Dan Brown's book before. And most people understand what that is, and whether they believe it's a real thing or not, or whether it's, you know, something that existed in the past but no longer exists, or whatever they feel about it, or some idea of some shadow government or deep state or whatever, you know, people, you know, think about. It's the whole system. The whole system is taking people in the wrong direction. I think most people can see that, and, you know, but you're dependent on it. Like, that's always been the sort of paradox. You're dependent on a system that's bad for you, right? It's like everyone's addicted to a system that is, you know, ultimately leading you away from your true path, your true purpose. So that's, you know, Doctor Strange. Hailey Bieber had heart surgery after scary blood clot caused mini stroke. So this is her YouTube channel. I guess that's her couch here.
Hey, it's Hailey.
Hey, Hailey Bieber.
And my voice is a little gone. I'm making this video because I wanted to tell this story in my own words of just where I've been at health-wise for the last month, and kind of what I've gone through and what the story is here. I think, as some people know, a lot of people know, or you may not know,
Those are the three options. Some people know, a lot of people know, or maybe not know at all. Those are the three options. You know, really two. Either you do or you don't know. But she's going to get into it. Quite a ghoul hole there.
I had like a very scary incident on March 10th. Basically, I was sitting at breakfast with my husband.
Justin Bieber. I know who your husband is. It's Justin Bieber.
Having a normal day, normal conversation, and we were in the middle of talking. And all of a sudden, I felt this really weird sensation that kind of like traveled down my arm from my shoulder all the way down to my fingertips. And it
So she had this is the blood clot she's recalling.
made my fingertips feel really numb and weird. And I was sitting there and I was kind of going like this, trying to figure out like what the sensation was and where it was coming from. And Justin was like, "Are you okay?" And
Because he's so caring. Justin, you know, it's not like when he was, when you beat him at that video game, right? Like, you know, like he wasn't as good then. But when you had the blood clot, he rose up to the challenge and asked, "Hey, babe, are you okay, babe?" And so let's see the time you beat him at a video game. She says, "I won, accept it."
Baby, I wasn't trying!
He wasn't trying. Justin Bieber wasn't even trying.
Baby, I wasn't trying!
He wasn't even trying, Hailey, but he's trying here. He's trying about the blood clot.
Justin was like, "Are you okay?" And I just didn't respond because I wasn't sure. And then he asked me again. And when I went to respond, I couldn't speak. The right side of my face started drooping.
She had like a mini stroke. So her face was drooping. She couldn't speak. She couldn't form words. Then this happened.
At that point, speech started to come back a little bit. Got in the ambulance to the hospital. There was actually a funny moment where they were calling into the hospital to explain what they were bringing in. And they were like, "I have a 30-year-old female." And I was like, "I'm 25.
You got to have your standards, and you're 25. Like, why is this happening? I've covered this before. This is celebrities dropping like flies and other people, but celebrities here. Lots of blood clots among young people. We know it's like an epidemic of blood clots. Something's making it happen. What could it be? What could it be?
It's like having a mini stroke. It definitely feels like having a stroke, except my body was able to resolve it pretty quickly. And
So she was able to get rid of the clot without, really any sort of assistance. Then they say this.
LA to see some more doctors.
She had a test to see if there was some sort of issues with her heart. And it came back negative, which means there was none.
To do some more thorough, in-depth testing. Because at that point, they didn't really have an answer or a conclusion for why this had happened.
They have no idea. They have no idea why a 25-year-old and all these other 25-year-olds are having, heart issues. They don't know. They don't have that. They're doctors. They don't know this. They don't know everything.
They did come to the conclusion of why they think I had a blood clot in the first place. And the conclusion that all of the doctors came to was three different things.
Three different things.
One was that I had just recently started birth control pills.
Okay, birth control pills. They're a big thing, clotting. And hey, why are you doing it? You guys don't want to have kids? You don't want little Biebers?
Which I should have never been on because I am somebody who suffered from migraines anyway. And I just did not talk to my doctor about this. So
The doctor didn't talk to you about this, right? The pharmaceutical shill.
ladies, if you suffer from bad migraines and you plan on being on birth control pills, make sure you tell your doctor because having a stroke is a potential side effect from
So birth control pills, that's one thing. Medication of some sort.
birth control pills. The second thing was I had recently had COVID,
COVID is, blood clots.
and that was something that they thought was a contributing factor. And then the third thing was that I had recently gone on a really long flight. I had flown to Paris.
So flight, those are the three big things. No fourth thing. No other thing that, no other side effects from anything else.
And back in a very short amount of time.
Okay, so birth control pills because she has migraines. She had COVID, and she was on a flight. So all those things.
And I slept through the whole flight both ways, didn't get up and move around, never thought about wearing compression socks. So
exactly, no compression socks and things on her arm where the blood clot happened.
So basically, all of the doctors came to the conclusion that it was a perfect storm that led to me having a small blood clot.
That's the conclusion they came with. No other factors were involved here.
What happened with me is my blood clot actually escaped through the flap or the hole in my heart.
Do you have a hole in your heart because of Justin? Did Justin hurt your heart with his competitive video game ways?
From my doctors at UCLA was to have a procedure done called a PFO closure, which is when they go through your groin, through the femoral vein in your groin, and they travel up to the heart, and they put this small little button, it looks like a little button, that buttons close the flap in the heart, and then eventually...
Well, that sounds kind of, what, they're going through your groin with it? Are you sure these were real doctors? You want to make sure that they're real doctors before they try to insert something into your heart through your groin. Because it sounds a little shady to me.
Eventually, your heart tissue grows back over the closure device, and that's it. And then
that's it. So Hailey Bieber is doing better. Let's move on to her cousin. All right. So let's move on to Kim Basinger, Alec J. Baldwin. Wasn't mentally available for tough conversation. They went to the table, the red table talk, and it's a man's fault. Like, that's crazy. Like, it usually doesn't happen this way.
It's a challenge. I mean, come on. We've had our challenges, and I don't think Alec was emotionally or mentally available for that kind of talk.
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't. But he's good at shooting people, right? Co-workers and American Spanish girls who come from the city of Boston, Spain. And to be fair, Kim, he did say he was sorry, but it wasn't his fault. Whose fault was it, Alec?
I want to apologize. I'm sorry that Vladimir Putin has effed with me again.
Alec, operates in a very different way in his life.
That's code for he shoots some of the cinematographers. That's code for, he'll shoot you. Right? So Willow was out on her own, doing a solo Willow thing, talking to Ireland Baldwin.
I suffer from cardiophobia. And you're like, what is that?
Don't know what that is.
I didn't know either until I did a lot of research for a very long time. I have a fear of my own heartbeat.
Oh, that sounds horrible. A fear of your own heartbeat. And what's up with these Baldwin girls? Hailey and Ireland are cousins, right? And one has a hole in her heart. The other one is scared of her own heartbeat. What's happening with these Baldwin girls in their hearts?
So when it starts getting really fast, even when I'm nervous, even slightly nervous, or if I exercise or anything, I start panicking to the point where I'm convinced, no matter what anyone says, that I'm going to have a heart attack. And I had to go to a hospital.
Wow. So, that's, she's also a silly goose, right? You saw my earlier video on this.
So I've had maybe over 20 hospital visits in my life.
Sounds pretty awful. What about your mom, Kim? She's got it together, right?
Kim, how did you feel when you saw that Ireland was also suffering from anxiety? What did that bring up for you?
Oh, JD, you have no idea. When she started twisting her hands, because my mother always put her hand over my hands because I would twist my hands my whole life. To see her hurt, it used to hurt me worse than anything probably.
Kim Basinger, you can always tell she has a lot of fear and anxiety. Just by the way she talks, right? Somebody who, she always seemed nervous, right? Alec Baldwin, who's no treat. And now they got a kid who's a allergic to her own heartbeat, scared of her own heartbeat, which is kind of a metaphor for the heart. You know, I was talking about this in my heartfulness videos, that people are scared of their dark side within, right? People are scared of, you know, the beast within, but they're even more scared of the saint within, right? People are scared of their lower nature, but are even more scared of their higher nature. So that's why they don't want to look within themselves. And this heartbeat thing is like prime example of it, right?
Yeah. Really. We went through a heavy duty, very out loud when you're in the public divorce. And she had to go through that very rough time.
So she talked about the divorce in the beginning of the episode, that the divorce was so traumatic.
You had a condition where you stayed in the house for
agoraphobia. I wouldn't leave the house. I would no longer go to dinner. And it's really horrible to feel.
Just the level of low functioning in our society, right? You know, just panic. My brother had agoraphobia for some period of time and then, you know, got over it. But I mean, you think about all the different phobias, and I've seen so many of them. When I worked as a counselor, there's an endless list of things that people are scared of and cause panic, right? And, you know, human beings just aren't very good at being in the world, right? And so she's scared. She's scared of her own heartbeat. She can't leave the house. And Alec Baldwin shoots coworkers. and some reason they had a traumatic divorce.
Feel that it won as really fiercely as I did during those years, you know, and not know what it was. It's like something just completely shuts down within you. And
Do you have it? Do you have agoraphobia? Like,
you have to relearn everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to relearn to drive.
Right, right.
And for many years, I would not go through the tunnels at Malibu.
She doesn't like the tunnels. Tunnels are particularly scary.
Wow. Everything used to make me nervous, like the glass going to open the door, or where do I step to open the door. Everything became a big job to figure out how to do it.
Yes,
you live with a
right.
dry mouth all
Yes, right. I see it. I feel it. Yes. Yeah, I'm so empathetic.
the time. You're very shaky. You're just so exhausted all the time.
Exactly. Red table talk. Red table talk. They're at their table. Plus, your ex-husband, you know, shoots people, and her husband slaps people. Let's come together at the table for some healing.
A Red Table Talk exclusive.
It's exclusive. She's coming through the door. Look at her peek around. There's a Red Table Talk exclusive. RTT exclusive.
The only child of Kim Basinger and Alec Baldwin.
Do you remember your first anxiety attack?
I mean, when I was a kid, it was really based around divorce.
Willow.
Was it around when your dad called you a pig? It's Willow.
One-on-one with Ireland.
Boom, one-on-one.
I just hit a total breaking point. I didn't talk to my parents for like a year. I think I would have...
Smart move. So then Willow has a big reveal of her own.
Or not even like knowing that it's anxiety.
Yeah.
I feel like when I was growing up, I was always told I was like being a brat.
She was told by who? By Will? Did Will say you were a brat? You know, because he's a slapper.
When in reality, I was kind of dealing with a deeper emotional issue.
Exactly. You weren't a brat. He was the brat. Her dad called her a pig. So you guys have something in common, right? When you guys had anxiety.
Dealing with a deeper emotional issue.
Right.
Do you remember your first anxiety attack?
When my parents were getting divorced, that was really when...
Ireland was just a...
She was just a little kid. Here she is. Looking weird. Alex sporting a little potbelly there. Kim Basinger having panic attacks. I went through a divorce.
I think for any child, divorce is traumatic, extremely traumatic. And
It's just traumatic. See, human beings can't handle these things. A lot of it's because it's unnatural. A lot of it's because human beings just are so weak right now. But that's the Red Table Talk with Ireland Baldwin. The silly goose, as she calls herself. Now, we know from Instagram, if she drinks a cup of coffee with the fear of her heartbeat, her heart races, right? I covered this in another video. And then, this is where she said the silly goose thing. people said, well, why do you drink coffee? I mean, she says she goes in, has a panic attack, and then she has like, you know, all kinds of stomach issues and vomiting and diarrhea and things. And people are like, why do you still drink coffee? And she's like, I don't know, because I'm a silly goose. Right? She invoked the silly goose defense. But these Baldwins and, you know, people in general, I mean, they just can't function. Younger generation, yeah, divorce sucks and our society sucks, but the younger generation gets weaker and weaker. The subsequent generations get weaker and weaker. You know, this is where athletes are saying they can't play because they have emotional, psychological issues, right? Like, this is the big push. You don't show up for your job. You can't function that day. You know, what about your kids? I don't know, right? Like, people are having trouble just getting through life, and they have chronic health conditions and then chronic mental health conditions, multiple anxiety disorder type of, circumstances and things like this. You know, human race is failing right now, and you can see it even more so in the celebrity culture. It's got worse post-COVID. Okay, speaking of silly gooses, this is Amanda Bynes, who also got rid of her conservatorship. So she had drug issues, she had behavioral issues, and now she's engaged to a boyfriend named Paul. I covered her about 2 years ago. I haven't, her Instagram thing I think is private now. But Page 6 copied it because, they could. And she has some issues now with her fiancé named Paul. And what better place to display it? If you can't make it to the red table, if they don't want you on the red table, then post it on Instagram.
Paul told me that he stopped taking his medications. I looked at his phone and he was looking at mom and son porn. He vandalized...
Okay. Spoiler alert. And so he stopped taking his medication. He's went down a deviant path. And so she thought she would just do this in Instagram story because that's always helpful. Bring it to the Instagram community. See what kind of support you can get.
His mom's home. He broke all of...
He vandalized his mom's home.
Her pictures and put salmon under her bed.
He put salmon... He put salmon under her bed. Why salmon? Does she hoping a bear will come to her? Why is he putting salmon under her bed, one might ask?
His behavior is alarming, and I'm afraid of what he'll do. I forgot to mention, I found Paul's stash of crack cocaine.
Well, that's a big one. I think it's a little bit more severe than the salmon, although salmon's definitely, a stumper, right? Well, why salmon? But, she found his crack.
I found Paul's stash of crack cocaine. He's been using for the past 6 months. He needs serious help. I kicked him out of my house.
He needs serious help. I kicked him out of my house. That's a meme. This whole thing is a meme. But that's wonderful right there. She needs serious help, but I kicked him out of my house. Amanda Bynes accuses fiancé Paul Michael, of using crack cocaine. I'm afraid. And a multi-part Instagram story, because it just gets better. Whenever you put something up on Instagram, it's almost always going to lead to healing and maybe a little bit of a stint on the red table if they're willing. Then someone sent me this, Amy Schumer, sad dumpling Amy Schumer. I guess she's pals with Kim Kardashian, right? And they're talking at when Kim Kardashian was on Saturday Night Live, and I guess that was a part of their new show.
Like, it is just fun to just get to look at you. It was really so great. It really was. I can't get over it. Like, it's really special. It felt like someone, like not just conquering their fears, but, like, kicking the door down.
I'm shocked at how fun it was for me.
Yeah, but it sucked for the rest of us, right? I mean, you weren't funny, and Saturday Night Live isn't funny, right? And so I guess maybe your fans seeing you there, I don't know. But the rest of us, it's all about them, right? Oh, you're conquering your fears, and you're getting up and doing stand-up comedy, right? But, you know, how about us? Like, we didn't laugh. It's not funny. What about our needs?
It went so fast.
I learned from it, actually, because I was like...
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I really don't think you should say these. Like, I just, like, had opinions, you know, and you had the confidence, you know, to be like, no, like, this is funny and it'll be good for me to say it, and it killed. I just got to enjoy it.
Wow, why is this on TV? Why is this epic conversation between these two brainiacs on TV? You know, I was just, you had the confidence to go and say things that I thought were stupid and not funny, but you went out there and did it. It was just so great for me to witness. Right? Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm so thankful for Amy giving me the best advice ever.
She gave me the best advice ever. See, now I remember I did a video, I don't know, maybe last week, where I included, there was a joke she told about Kanye, right? And somewhere around, something in the article or wherever it was, it talked about Amy, and I thought she meant Amy Schumer. And Amy Schumer is the one who trained her to be a professional comedian. And I think the training went something like this. Amy Schumer said to her, well, why don't you have one of your sisters, Kylie, or I don't know, the big one, go out and do stand-up comedy, and you steal their jokes, right? Because that's the Amy Schumer approach to comedy.
She's just such a girl's girl that like wanted to cheer me on and wanted me to win. And when you have friends like that in your corner that just want you to win, it makes it so amazing when you do a good job and they're proud of you.
Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Oh my God, I love you.
Oh my God.
I'm calling BS. I don't think any of these two biatches have the capacity to love. I'm just, I mean, I just don't think they do. But you know, who knows? They love each other. They love each other. I love you. I love you. Okay, so this guy's Jim Acosta, and we know he's a clown, and you know, he's almost as droopy dog and as somber tie as Jake Tapper's, but not quite. He's like a poor man's Jake Tapper.
It hasn't exactly been a peachy week for Georgia Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who appeared on a public...
Oh, wow. You know, that peachy thing for Georgia, right? Reality bites back for GOP lie supporter, big lie supporter.
Public access call-in show in her district a few nights ago and got an earful.
She got an earful from some of her people who called in. Look at how happy he is. Look at this. Look at how happy he is. That's his happy face. This guy's such a clown, right?
Thank God for Joe Biden.
Thank God for Joe Biden, right? Someone from Georgia likes Joe Biden. Thank God for Joe Biden's been sent by God. You know, come on. Thank God for Joe Biden because he's been sent by God. Now, I don't like her. She's done damage to the truth community. She used to be a QB or still a QB. She says stupid stuff. She doesn't help us out, right? I'm not a fan of hers, right? These, you know, a dopey voice, somebody who, you know, does stupid things and says stupid things in terms of, you know, the right wing of the so-called truth community. Like she, you know, is a truther who doesn't have the ability for maybe abstract thought or whatever it is, right? Or maybe an actress, I don't know, playing a role, who knows? Don't care. So I'm not defending her and supporting her. But this is about CNN and CNN sucking, right? The embarrassment that CNN is. This isn't her defending her, but it's about how CNN sucks. So Marjorie Taylor Greene says stupid stuff like this, and so, you know, not a fan.
What it is that Satan's controlling the church.
Yeah, stupid stuff like that, right? She's a sitting congresswoman, and she says things like that.
The church is not doing its job, and it's not adhering to the teachings of Christ, and it's not adhering to what the Word of God says we're supposed to do.
Who's this guy? He's a mile of bad road here.
And how we're supposed to live. And what they're doing by saying, oh, we have to love these people and take care of these migrants.
She's talking about immigrants, right?
And love one another. This is loving one another. Yes, we are supposed to love one another, but their definition of what love one another means destroying our laws.
She's just not smart, right? And this is a level of people in the truth community, right-wing truthers, that don't have, you know, double-digit IQs and the ability for abstract thought, you know, dumbasses, and they don't really understand what's going on here, right? Because they just don't have the capacity, and then they're given platforms, and it hurts the rest of us, right? Because she's, you know, going outside the lines, she's going outside the bandwidth, but she's going to crazy town, and, you know, she doesn't articulate her points well, and her points are crazy. So it's a combination of the two things.
It means completely perverting what our Constitution says. It means taking unreal advantage of the American taxpayer. And it means pushing a globalist policy on the American people and forcing America to become something that we are not supposed to be.
So again, this is about CNN, and I'm going to go in on Jim Acosta and these dopey callers, but I want to make it clear about Marjorie Taylor Greene and people who are in the so-called truth community, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is kind of a truther in the sense that she's outside of the mainstream media and mainstream politics bandwidth and things you're allowed to talk about. But she doesn't get it, right? And what they're trying to do, because they're desperately trying to control what they're referring to as disinformation and crazy conspiracy theories, and the way they get to do that is dumbasses. They get to, you know, put dumbasses out there as an example of the kind of people who don't buy into the official story, right? And Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of these people, Alex Jones, you know, these various types of, you know, bogus truthers, people who, you know, just do damage. The QBs, anybody who doesn't think about how they're going to come off, right? If they're looking to call you crazy, you can't say crazy things because you're speaking for everyone else. You know, if you're a prominent figure who's a so-called truther, then you have to be, you know, more vigilant about the facts or about, you know, what's fact and what's your opinion. And some things you just don't say because it sounds crazy. And who are you saying it to? They're just going to, you know, pathologize you. And so you have to sound reasonable to them, or just don't talk to them. Why talk to the press? Why go and be a part of Washington, D.C.? Because it's, you know, you're not going to change anything. But let's get back to the original point here, because CNN sucks even worse, right? They have their own crazy conspiracy theories and their own, you know, just corrupt and demonic views of things. And here they are in display.
She is an embarrassment to the state of Georgia.
Well, we all have our opinions.
Amen to that, and I've got mine.
And her opinion is Joe Biden is a gift from God. Joe Biden is a gift from God, and he's a gift from God that God gave us a gift, and that gift is Joe Biden.
All righty, thank you.
All righty, thank you. Green.
Look at this guy,
who helped lead the right-wing charge to overturn the 2020 election results, learned that people back in her home state have been paying close attention to her ridiculous antics.
They're ridiculous antics, right? Embarrassment, in quotes. Greene criticized by callers on live show.
Another listener during that call-in show took Greene to the woodshed over her refusal to work with President Biden. Now, this piece of sound is a little long, but it is so worth it.
It's totally worth it.
We accepted Trump for 4 years. You all refused to accept Biden. You refused to do it.
Wait, you're saying you accepted Trump? You Democrats accepted Trump. That's your position? We accepted Trump for 4 years. We were good to him. We loved him. We didn't, you know, focus on his negative side. We accepted him. But you guys aren't accepting Joe Biden. And all the Democratic politicians work with him. There was 2 impeachment trials at CNN and MSNBC. All they did was cover Trump and what a disaster he was. All of Hollywood as well. I mean, 99% of Hollywood, social media. You guys accepted Trump. And again, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not, you know, about Trump, but I mean, come on, right? You guys accepted Trump for 4 years?
We accepted Trump for 4 years. You all refused to accept Biden. You refused to do it. And maybe we didn't like Trump.
Why do they need the phones going in the background? Like it's like a show from the 80s, right?
But he won, and so that was it.
That was it. Once he won, that was it. There was no movement against Trump. That was it. He won. Okay, we accept him.
You all are not, you will not accept the fact that Joe Biden won. And that is the whole thing. You're not.
That's the whole thing. It's the whole thing.
Going to accept it. You're going to keep on and just peck.
Just pecking. You're a hen pecker.
Yeah, and you won't get anything done.
Exactly. You won't get anything done with your pecking, your constant being a pecker.
If you're not going to respect the man and realize that he's the president, you're not ever going to get anything done.
Never get anything done. As long as you guys don't respect Joe Biden.
You've got to work together. And you are not.
She's being taken back. She's been taken behind the woodshed.
Not doing it. You're not doing it. And neither are the other Republicans. They're just going with Trump. No, he didn't win it. He didn't win it. And wasted it all.
Look at her smile.
All the money in Georgia have to count the votes 3 times because he said he won and he didn't. And to me, everything in Washington would settle down if the Republicans would just say, oh.
Exactly. The Republicans are the problem. If they would just say,
we didn't win. It's like Alabama and Florida, the Alabama people. Well, we didn't. We really should have won.
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart, you condescending piece of crap.
The look on the Congresswoman's face as she listened to all of that. It's a little early for Valentine's Day, but I think I'm in love with that nice lady on the phone. And
this guy, you know, unbelievable stooge here, right?
Part because it's a sign our democracy stands a chance after all.
So they no longer take polling numbers because, you know, I mean, one of the polling numbers is CNN isn't, I mean, one of the ways we know that CNN isn't clicking with the people is CNN Plus didn't last a month. Nobody's watching you, bro. And this is something they do on Huffington Post. There'll be somebody who says something, you know, some public figure that flirts with the truth, is closer to the truth. And instead of taking polling numbers and doing polls on it like real polls, because they know where Americans stand, they find Instagram posts or Twitter tweets or comments to the person that are negative, like in this case. And so this was maybe an hour-long show, 2-hour-long show. And 2 callers called in, maybe the same person, right? And 2 other people complained to Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that's what he's saying is what the big takeaway. You know, that she's being criticized by some of her voters, and the criticisms were stupid. Like they were stupid people who don't know what's going on, right? Sheeple, you know, stupid for even sheeple, right? Because, you know, we know that they didn't accept Trump. Like anybody who has any consciousness knows that the Democrats and everybody else did not accept Trump, right? Even the Republican Party didn't accept Trump, and Fox News didn't really accept Trump, right? They went along with him because they had to. But come on. And the other thing was that, you know, it's about them not working with Joe Biden, right? And nothing will get done because this gift from God, Joe Biden, right? And so those were the 2 callers. And they're stupid, right? They're wrong and they're stupid. And he's basking in their stupidity and their wrongness because of his hatred for Marjorie Taylor Greene and his inability to cover something and produce like real quality news that people want to watch, right?
Because it's a reminder that when you peddle the worst kinds of conspiracy theories, sometimes reality bites you back.
That was reality biting you back? That was reality? How about this for reality? You suck, right? Nobody watches you. You're talking to people Those are the people who would be the viewers of CNN, right? These women who were talking, those are your viewers. People with, with double-digit IQs, inability for abstract thought, and who are older and their minds are breaking down, and they're caught in the world of the past when CNN was relevant, right? You're a dinosaur that's going extinct. I turned on the TV this morning to eat my breakfast, and it was on some sort of movie channel. I don't know what it was on from last night, but they were showing Jurassic Park, and I was literally thinking about doing this segment. Just as I sat down, I turned on TV, and one of the older Jurassic Park with Sam Neill was in it, right? The first or second one. I don't know. I didn't watch it. But that's like, who's watching Jurassic Park at 8:30 in the morning? Like, why is this even on? Right? Like, who is like, oh, I'm gonna watch Jurassic Park. But anyways, it's like the dinosaurs that you guys are trying to bring yourselves back to life when you died years ago, right? You died when social media came of life, right? Came to life, and people realized, wow, that individual people's opinions is so much better than this crappy news programmed, disinformation that you guys put out, right? And so nobody's watching you. And you have nothing to say because you have pushed a senile president that everybody knows now, anybody with any consciousness knows, that the guy's not mentally up to the task, right? His poll numbers have plummeted. He's got like a 30% approval rating. And it's like a wartime president. I mean, in a pandemic, and he's failed on all these things. 2 years in. He's drooling on himself. He's pooping his Depends. I mean, a guy can't, function, right? And like you're lying about that. Like you're pretending that this guy is functional. We can all see it. You're trying to gaslight all of us. And you have to have like a brain dead audience, and that's what you do have. And, collectively on CNN, they only get 700,000 viewers, not even 1 million viewers a day across all their crappy programming. So nobody's watching you. Like nobody's watching you. Anybody with significance, anybody with a future, anybody with reasonable critical thinking skills. And for you to come out and call her an embarrassment, right? I'm not defending Marjorie Taylor Greene, but this news segment is an embarrassment. You're like a joke. Plus, like, there's these memes. Like, he likes to do these little rhymes. I'll put that in here.
It sounds like, I know you are, but what am I? What's next? I'm rubber and you're glue? Nana boo-boo? It's not if you do a coup, good for you. The world goes from let's go Brandon to oh no Bannon.
So there's one more thing to do with Kim Kardashian here. Kim Kardashian reveals why True was photoshopped onto Stormi's body. Now, as far as I know, Stormi and True are Kim Kardashian's nieces. I know the big one who's married, who was with Tristan Thompson, the barely a basketball player. Their baby is named True because I saw that on a YouTube clip. And so I think Stormi is their other sister's. Well, I'll read it here. I think it clarifies it here. Well, it says here, the Skims founder finally gave fans in her circle of truth an explanation. She has a circle of truth, an explanation for the bizarre decision via her Instagram stories on Wednesday, despite claiming in preceding slides that she does not edit her photos. Okay, so I'm all about my aesthetic. And my IG grid is pink and blue lately. Isn't it so cute and well planned out? Oh, I should read it in her voice. Okay, so I am about my aesthetic, and my IG grid is pink and blue lately. Isn't it so cute and well planned out? The original Disneyland pics were Stormi, so Stormi was in the original pics. However, I asked Hailey is Stormi's mom, if I could post them, and she said she wasn't feeling she said she really wasn't feeling posting at the moment, and so I respect that. but it wasn't going to mess up my IG feed. Chai was wearing pink and it matched perfectly. So that's Chicago, her daughter. I will be damned if Kylie will ruin that for me and mess up my IG grid. So thank you, True, for taking one for the team. Kind of fell apart there at the end. So she photoshopped one of her other niece's face on her other niece because of it not wanting to ruin the grid. And she had to explain this in her circle of truth. And Kanye is the crazy one, right? Rob Kardashian, Black China beat me with a metal rod, pulled gun during fight. And now she's suing the family for $160 million. Sounds about right. So just a few more thoughts on the CNN thing and all of it, right? Because this is the mess that the world is, right? Like you look around and everybody's a mess. Psychologically, you have now athletes who won't play because they have psychological issues. And I mean, just the whole celebrity culture. I mean, that's what I cover here, the apocalypse, right? And nothing exhibits it better than the celebrity culture. It's like canaries in the coal mine or demons in the coal mine, whatever it is, right? And they are flipping out. And, you know, Joe Biden, Jojo Magoo, and I forgot to mention his crackhead son. And for them to all pretend like he's doing a great job and everything's cool except for Trump and the people that support him, you know, it's just an embarrassment. Like he's an embarrassment. He's calling Marjorie Taylor Greene an embarrassment, but he's an embarrassment. Nobody watches their show because it sucks. And he just goes out there to all these guys, all these reporters. I could cover anything they do on CNN. It's not that it's just not truthful. They're not even acting like real people, you know. And for everyone who's pretending that Jojo Magoo is sane and doing a great job as a gift from God, right, as this woman said, you know, I mean, what can you say about them? I mean, that's your level of comprehension, your level of self-deception, and your level of, you know, being able to look at somebody and realizing that this guy shouldn't be president. You could say the same thing about Trump, but at least Trump was funny and entertaining, and he was more mentally together, certainly, than Joe Magoo. He wasn't breaking down the way Jojo Magoo is. And my overall point to this thing is God's within you, right? God exists within every person, within everything. You can find God anywhere if you look for God, but very few people are, right? Heartfulness meditation is a system that helps people connect to God internally. And that's what the solution is. This is my ongoing theme here because we see what being a materialistic person does to you. These are all very materialistic people who have pursued wealth and fame, the American dream, the worldwide global dream of being a rich and famous person. And look at them, like they're a mess, right? And they've succeeded, but they're superficial. All they care about is superficial things, off the charts, self-centered and low functioning and crazy. Just an absolute mess. And, I mean, only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely pointing from the apocalypse. And the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.